pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Welcome to the special board meeting today. Paul, will you call the roll, certify the quorum?
Sure. We have Matt Barger, Karen Gilmartin, Steve Burke, Daniel Monks, Pat Kepke, Margie Cassia, and Brian Cohen on Zoom with full quorum. And proof of notice was posted in accordance with statute. And just a reminder, this is a special meeting of the Board of Directors. As outlined in section 3.02 of the Foundation bylaws, the business of any special meeting shall be limited to the items specified in the notice of the meeting. So other questions and comments on this that may be asked today will be addressed at the next monthly board meeting scheduled for September 22nd of this month.
Thank you, Paul. We'll start with old business. Actually, there's only old business. Item 5.1 is to rescind a motion of approval from the August 18th, 2022 board meeting and approve a new motion to appoint an ad hoc committee to find potential candidates to run the foundation's food and beverage operations. Okay, so a little background. Why are we here? So as you all know, at last Thursday's board meeting, not a couple weeks ago, the board approved the following motion. It read, I hereby move that the board immediately search for a new vendor to operate the food and beverage business with a team created by the Finance Committee and the Executive Committee with the goal of a contract structure that requires the new operator to absorb all unexpected losses. We believe the general idea of this motion is a good one, given the difficulties we've had with our current operator and the financial losses we've incurred and that are ongoing. It makes sense to investigate the market and try to find alternative operators. This the motion that we passed, however, was flawed in a few important ways. It stipulated that the Executive Committee and the Finance Committee would create the new search committee. And the bylaws and rules of the foundation are clear on this issue. All committees are formed by the board. It's the board's responsibility. So this motion excluded 4 board members and appointed that responsibility to Finance Committee members, which is just sort of a contrary to the process and also makes the whole process, makes the motion illegal within the sense of our own rules. It's worth noting that, let's just cut to the chase here. So because there were multiple problems with the old motion, the way the old motion was written, not the intent of the motion, which we all agree with because we all voted for it, but the way the motion was written was a problem. And so our attorney reviewed the motion and said, listen, you have to do it. You have to write it this way. So he wrote it. And he included at our request a charter for the committee. In other words, as opposed to having a separate document, because this is basically a one issue, it's an ad hoc committee, one issue, committee being formed to do one job. The charter was included in the new language of the motion, which I will now read to you. I move to establish an advisory ad hoc F&B committee, not less than 3 nor more than 5 members, and including 1 chair appointed by the board after advertisement to the community and charged with the following. Identify at least 3 candidates to potentially replace the existing food and beverage operator, create and propose an RFP to the board and containing proposed success criteria and scoring for the board's approval prior to distribution to potential candidates. At least 1 criterion shall be the candidate's willingness to bear financial risk of unexpected operating losses. Contact potential candidates, solicit completed RFPs, gather information, score candidates pursuant to the success criteria, and deliver the committee's findings to the board for consideration. And the committee shall not have authority to make any commitment or enter into any binding or non-binding agreement with any potential candidate, this authority being reserved alone for the board. Now, because the person who started this ball rolling, Daniel, our treasurer, felt that this was fairly urgent and we needed to move along. we did not actually advertise this to the community and say, who wants to be on this committee. We had a whole pool of finance and restaurant management people who had already submitted resumes to the foundation to be on various committees or to serve in some particular way. And we went through that and found a group that we are comfortable with. This group is provisional until September, when the board will vote them, will approve them by vote. We can't do it at today's meeting, obviously. We'll do it at the September meeting. These folks are Dave Wallace, Bruce Zaretsky, Beth DeFrank, Paula Fetterman, Joe Mulcahy, Daniel Monks, with Patrick Webb serving as the foundation advisor. And Nathaniel, of course, serving as the board liaison. Okay. I would like to entertain a motion from the board to approve, to rescind the old motion and approve the new motion. May I have a motion, please? May I have a motion?
I so move to.
Second.
Okay, and we have a second. Now, any board member comment? Any audience comment?
Timetable?
Is there a timetable? Could you explain what you mean by that?
The committee will deliver to the board a product that's defined. Is there a date by which that product will be delivered?
Nope. It's as soon as possible. We want them to get started right away. Actually, they're already started in starting to generate the RFP. So we'd like them to get out in the wild and start looking for these guys right away. So there's no timetable because we don't understand the market. We don't know what the result
I
is.
just make a recommendation. Perhaps you could say by November 1 or earlier, something like that. So there's some sort of feeling that there's a goal in mind, because a cynic could say this could go on forever.
Okay, well, thank you for your point. Any other points from the audience?
Just another point. Who's that last?
I'm sorry,
I'm sorry. Who
who are you?
The last, Peter Hurd.
Oh, okay.
Who was the last person you mentioned? Patrick?
Patrick Webb is our director of fitness. Patrick managed and ran a restaurant on Fifth Avenue for years. He's really, of all the people in the community, has the most hands-on direct restaurant management experience. Any other comments from the audience? Yes.
Open our big on these things, but what happens in the interim? The space stays open and continue to run as it has been.
Yes.
How long do you anticipate you're going to incur losses in that property?
We anticipate we'll incur losses until we have a minimum place to support the revenue stream on this restaurant. So the rest of the year. But we need to talk about just the motion. We can't talk about anything else. Thank you for your understanding. Was there anything else related directly to the creation of this committee? Yes.
Orlando, that was 3 point. Steve, is the committee going to consider outside consulting firms to sort of entertain a more independent, objective analysis?
Steve, there's a lot of people online. They can't hear the audience questions. Should we repeat the questions?
So, okay. So, yeah, so Orlando is asking if the committee is going to hire an outside private firm to consult with them on this matter. The answer to that is not initially. We're hoping that this is done inexpensively and quickly. We don't want to be spending more money on this issue. And we have confidence that we have a good group of people who are raring to go. And so let's see what they can do.
I think, Steve, frankly, I disagree completely. I think we should have an outside consulting firm advising this committee. I know we have a lot of nice people here, with a lot of expertise, but so far we haven't done well. I think we need more independent, objective assessments so that we can make a major decision.
Let me make sure I understand what you're saying. You're saying hire a firm for what purpose exactly?
To help us arrive to a better decision. People who are really.
Decision about what specifically?
Hire an operator. I think I would extend the scope of this consulting firm in the sense, do we really have a market here for that business that we want to develop, this amenity? If so, what should be the offering? I mean, there's so many questions that I have.
Okay,
that I
thank you.
think That I think everybody here, I don't know if I'm the only one, need the answers too. And I'm not discrediting their experience of our current selected committee members.
Mhm.
But what I do believe that we need somebody that is closer to the business, hands-on, they see it every day, they can anticipate, forecast, and deliver new ideas. Because we've been subject to an environment, like you very well explained during the last meeting, that basically put us in a very uncomfortable position to make very difficult decisions. Some were good, some weren't that great. So I think it's important to invest a little bit of money now so that we can make a good, long-lasting decision. And that's where I'm at.
Thank you, appreciate it. Anybody else?
What are the current deficiencies that you see with the current operator, and what are the losses?
Let me stop you right there. We're not talking about that today. What we're talking about today is this measure, because it's a special meeting.
Why not?
Because the bylaws restrict what can be spoken about at this meeting. We are following the bylaws. So we're talking about today is this motion, which we're going to vote on in a minute. And once we voted on that motion, if you guys have more stuff you want to talk about, the September meeting is the place to do that. Yes.
I'm sorry, I hear almost every day of the week, it's empty out there. It's been empty for a week. This may not be the right time. Anybody with a brain knows that there's a problem. What are we gonna do to fix it?
Did you not understand that? I'm sorry to tell you this. Listen, I apologize to all of you that we are going to follow the rules here. The rules stipulate that we can only, this is a single issue meeting, a special meeting, which the bylaws say your discussion is only allowed on the noticed item. This is it. We're not having another board meeting here, shortly after the last one. So you guys can ask all your questions. It's just not the purpose of this. I want you to understand that we're handcuffed by what the bylaws say we can and cannot do. We're trying to follow the process. What we're going to do is we're going to vote on this motion. And unless you have something specific about this motion that you would like to share, please hold your comments. Yes.
I think you're heading in the right direction, the right thing.
Thank you. Yes.
I would just say that you need to put some time limit for a report on this, make it what they call smart.
Are you just repeating your last comment?
I am, because I'm not sure the board is reacting to anything we're saying here. Did you hear that? Would you please consider that?
Why did you come to that conclusion?
No, let's not. Listen, we're not going to talk. We're not going to talk about this stuff. I'm sorry.
No, I do, but I do want to say that we are, let's just say, I am listening to you. And I think that Steve just said that unfortunately, this is exactly what we have to do here. And at the September meeting, we will absolutely have a dialogue. And clearly that's going to happen. There's no question about that. And I actually support what Rich has said about putting a timeline into this. I do. I think it's a good idea.
We have a motion today. We have to finish the business on this motion, and then we can move forward with the rest of the stuff. Yes.
Is there anything that prohibits you from amending the motion to include an outside date?
Well, I think that the board may want an opportunity to deliberate on this. Spending money is not something that we're going to do. I mean, we don't know how much money is involved. We have to investigate this.
I'm talking about, you had a suggestion from.
Timeline doesn't cost money.
That there be an outside date for the report from the ad hoc committee.
He's saying outside date, not outside firm.
So, okay, so we're talking about putting a date in to the motion. This is what you're asking. This is what Rich is asking.
That's what that gentleman's asking, if you use regional idea to debate it, accepted or rejected.
And what happens if we get to that date? We don't have a report.
You know, that's a stock answer. You have a goal to work toward. If they don't work toward it, nobody's gonna hang them, nobody's gonna.
I actually can put everybody's mind at ease on that subject. The board, the committee, and the liaison all feel like we should be working hard and quick, and there will be nobody dragging their feet. So I don't think that that will be an issue. There will not be people just dragging their feet on and on forever. Each person that will volunteer to help with this, volunteer because they feel like it's a need.
I'm going to call the question. Yes?
Would it be possible to amend the charter of the ad hoc committee to include exploring the validity or the success of the current business model for possible alternative business models? That's-
Well, okay, it's actually a reasonable question, but the whole point of this motion is to find an alternative business model, not just somebody else coming and do the same thing. This is not.
Your wording says
It does.
Yeah, it does.
Okay. I'm going to reread one sentence from this, and I'm going to call the question. At least one criterion shall be the candidate's willingness to bear financial risk of unexpected operating losses. Okay, so that's a different business model, right? Yes, because right now, well, never mind, we're not, we can't get into that. Okay, I'm going to call a question. So for the stated motion, all in favor, say aye. 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 Opposed? Abstentions? The motion carries. I will entertain a motion for adjournment.
Do we have any questions online, Paul?
Oh,
Hold on, let me double check.
but it's a little late. We already voted on the motion.
Okay.
It doesn't, they're not, this is, they couldn't hear the question, so in the future, we just have to have people speak on a microphone.
Microphone. Okay, good. Okay, did I get a second on the motion to adjourn? All in favor? Aye. We're adjourned.